Hello everyone, it's good to see you again. It's only been 6 months. Anyway, today I bring you the first of many videos, as today marks the first day of the Last Alliance FCN tournament, lovingly called the Haggis Cup. It's been in the works for a while now, and after a lot of headaches and text channels, it is all kicking off. In this show match, we have Tomic and Middlegard, aka the Kings of Pegau, against KingArthur18yts and Dondu, aka the Westphalia Stormtroopers Grenadiers. I do want to say a massive thank you to everyone who signed up to this tournament, as well as all of the many players and teams for working together and playing these battles. There's a lot of time zone differences, and everyone has been working around that, playing at all times of the night to fight out on the battlefield. Every day in the lead up to the tournament, I've been hosting practice matches, and the majority of these players have turned up to them to improve and work together as teams. I want to take this time now to say that many of these players, essentially all of them, have played very little Napoleon Total War, if Total War in general, let alone FCN, which is the mod we're using, which for new players is a major step up in micro, a lot of morale and unit changes. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that they're very new, and you are watching them control triple, even quadruple the size of armies than usual. There will be mistakes, there will be blunders, but it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. Hindsight is 2020. These people have taken time out of their days and weeks to practice playing a mod and game they rarely play just to have fun. So please, please take that for what it is and be supportive. I don't want to see anyone in the comments or in the Discord being negative about these players. They are trying their best. Speaking of The Last Alliance, The Last Alliance is a Discord that is full of your favourite Total War YouTubers, including Tomic and Middlegard, as well as myself, of course, and has a newly formed but amazing community of Total War and history enjoyers. If that sounds like your cup of tea, there will be a link in the description to join. We host things such as this tournament, there's plenty of opportunities to join videos, play battles, only if you are up for it. Anyway, enough talking, over to live casting me, and let's get into this battle. It looks like the map obviously is going to be a very interesting one. I think it's got a decent amount of hills, but we'll go into the terrain in a little bit once we get in there. We've got a America as Chris, and we've got a First French Republic as Tom, so they've gone as the Imperials. So France is a very good manpower faction. They've got some solid heavy cav, they've got okay cavalry, relatively good. And their infantry is very, very solid. They get lots of men. Probably going to see a little bit of a militia spam, so the French side is going to have more men. And we've got Chris here, who tends to do the same strategy. The cavalry for America, though, is awful. It is dreadfully bad cavalry. So I'm hoping to see little amounts of cavalry from Chris, and instead he's going to rely on the American 18-pounders, and because just America has very solid artillery, likely to see a lot of infantry units turn up as well, and most importantly, Chris's favourite, the Buck and Ballers, who fire a shotgun round, which is very, very strong. However, looking onto the other side here, we have King Arthur playing as Spain. So Spain in 7.4 FCN is a very interesting faction. Lots of guerrilla troops. So I believe they can deploy a 4-pound guerrilla artillery anywhere in the map. So that's going to be interesting to see. Obviously they've got some guerrilla cavalry. Their infantry is mediocre at best, but they do have some very solid grenadiers. So it's going to be interesting seeing a line engagement for Spain, because I reckon he's going to get outnumbered by both of these guys. However, back him up over here, we have Pan playing as Russia. So Russia is obviously a manpower faction, so we're going to see a lot of men versus a lot of men, depending on whether or not Dondu here decides to put all of his money into artillery, because the Russians have unicorns, which are very strong, very, 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 very powerful howitzers. So we're going to see some very strong howitzers blowing up everything, and we're going to see some good heavy cavalry too. So let's begin. We're jumping in. This is a battle that I'm going to be watching from the perspective of Chris and Tom, just because they were the ones that hosted the lobby. In a second, I'm going to join some VCs and talk to people about their opening strategies. But let's just have a quick little look at the battle map. Here we go. Okay, so we're looking from the perspective of America. So, let's have a little look at the map. So we're playing by LOC, so these little houses. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points on the map. So an odd number. The winner is the person who holds the most of these houses, or has just defeated the enemy army in its entirety. So it's probably going to come down to this house here. And while it does look like it's closer to these guys, if the cavalry screening is good enough here and they utilize the road, which makes you move faster, and if he's brought any light infantry, which I believe he generally does, with the Kentucky light infantry, although I'm not seeing them, then he should be able to actually make it here first. In fact, I had a practice battle here against some of these guys where I actually made it up to this place first, but it's going to be a very aggressive battle from these guys, because if they want to make it up here, they're going to have to move very quickly. It's also going to be an interesting little guerrilla battle, because Chris has brought the native skirmishers, a very solid light infantry skirmisher unit. Doesn't have skirmisher range, it does have slightly more than a musket, and they can guerrilla deploy them wherever. I'm likely thinking probably up here somewhere. And we've got the native warriors here from Chris. So he's got 2 units of the native warriors, I believe, yes, who are some of the best melee troops in the game. However, they do not have very good morale. So if they get point blank volleyed or he mismanages their charges, they're going to be unusable. So let's just have a quick look at these American armies. We've got some militia. Unsurprising from Chris, he always brings militia. We have some Major to Quinn's Free Men of Color Battalion, very interesting. We've got some US regulars as his basic line. Some Buck and Ball militia, these guys are very strong despite being militia. He has some of the 2nd regulars, the 6th regulars, the Warriors, some United States Buck and Ballers. These guys are going to be very, very, very powerful. And here's the Kentucky Light Infantry Militia. These guys are very, very powerful light infantry that can buck and ball. And to add on to that, he has chefed them 4 times, so their stats are heavily increased. However, it was an expensive thing to do. Some more buck and ball infantry. The Old Guard buck and ball, this is their elite. I'm hoping to see them in reserve and hopefully doing something interesting later on. 25th regulars. Some more 25th regulars, 2nd regulars. 6th regulars, 4th regular warriors, some US Marines. He's brought the Leathernecks, so that's their other elite unit. They can only bring 2. Some more militia. In fact, a lot more militia. Wow. And then some regulars mixed in there. It looks like he is just preparing to advance straight up the gun. Yep, Chris has realized the fact that the Americans have terrible, terrible, terrible cavalry, and so he's brought the light dragoons. Solid cavalry, not the best, but usable. And it looks like he's brought 2 18-pounders, very strong, and a 6-pounder. And he is going to wheel them up this road, probably to take this house and try and guard this right flank. I'm guessing he might be advancing up here, taking a little bit of this right, while he allows Tom, who has even more men, to march straight up the middle. And it looks like he has brought the staple. He has brought some demi-brigades, very solid infantry consular guard, more demi-brigades, some more consular guard battalions, and a whole wall of sans-culotte divisions. So the sans-culottes, if you don't know who they are a militia unit for the First French Republic that is not very good. They have a lot of men, they have 250 men. I think the main point of these guys is to just be a manpower wall that will suck out all of their ammunition. It's going to be an interesting game for this because it's a lot of militia backed with very small amounts of infantry. And he's got some dragoons here. Does he have any heavy cav? He has some carabiners. He has some 10th dragoons, his SARs, and his SARs. Well, it looks like they're both going to be getting out-cabbed pretty heavily, which would be a problem with these guys being militia if it weren't for the fact that these guys can form square. So, it's going to be down to knowing whether or not these guys go for a cavalry charge, because if they go for a cavalry charge on these guys, yes, they'll break them. But if Tom just sees it and forms square, well, it's going to be a very different story. Artillery-wise, we've got an 8-pounder, another 8-pounder, another 8-pounder, and another 8-pounder. So he's brought 4 8-pounders, and it looks like he's just going to be ramming them straight up the center. So I think this is a good time, now that we've looked over this side's armies, to jump over to another VC and speak to their opponents. Let me just move myself over there. I'm having to do this on phone because I don't have a second monitor. Like and subscribe, maybe one day I can afford it. Let me just grab me here. Move to. And I believe it should just be Tournament VC1. This, where am I? Hello, how are we doing, guys?
Yep.
I just wanted to speak to you about what might be your opening strategies for this. This is being recorded. I've had a look over your opponent's armies because I'm watching from their perspective. I just want to know, what is your opening strategies?
Well, our plan is to catch them off guard.
Okay.
Do not give them a chance to breathe. Because I know the Americans, they got some good line, but their cav is bad. So I'm going to take advantage of that and knock the Americans out. While the French Republic, I think, I didn't really look of what France they are. Keep them hard fought, keep them back, while we just annihilate his friend.
Alright. And is there anywhere you're thinking of deploying? So I know the Austrians are up front and the Russians are behind, so where are you thinking of taking up in the battlefield?
Let's just say that we have some advanced positions.
I thought so. Oh, I said Austrians there, yeah. Spanish, yes. I forgot you have the guerrilla. Did you bring the guerrilla 4-pounders?
The artillery 4-pounders, no.
Ah, the guerrilla 4-pounders are so funny to see. Okay, so you've got some advanced possessions. Is Spain going to move into the middle, and where's Russia going to go? What are we thinking for that?
I think Russia, if I'm good, he's probably going to advance to the middle.
Mm-hmm.
While I advance to the right.
Oh, okay. That's going to be very interesting. Well, I will let you guys have a little bit of a go. I'll be able to see what you've brought, hopefully later in the battle. Did you bring unicorns by any chance?
We might have.
Oh, some unicorns, some guerrilla possessions, advanced possessions, we'll say, and presumably some decent cavalry.
I also brought some howitzers into the battle.
Ooh, some howitzers. A good choice for this map, just because of how hilly it is. The canister does help some places from regular artillery, however. Howitzers are probably the best choice you can make for this map. So, it's been good speaking to you guys. I might rejoin in a little bit to just chat to you guys, see what's going on in the battle, see what your thoughts are. But until then, I am going to move myself to
See you later.
The next VC. But good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Alright. I like this. I love this.
How's it going, guys?
We're ready
We're
whenever
ready.
you are.
You're ready. I actually can't press ready yet, so it's just them.
Okay, we were waiting for you to pop in.
But I have done a little bit look over your armies. I've had a gander at everything you've brought, and I've spoken to your opponents, and you guys have surprised me a little bit. I was assuming that it was going to be a French push up the middle with the America to the front and right, but it looks a little bit more like a attack onto the right with the Americans and a big whole chunk of French walking up the right flank.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to mingle our forces, but also the right is the best for artillery.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
Just to confirm, the yellow houses are the LOCs, right?
Yep, so each
Right,
house
that
you
makes
see
sense.
is 1 point. There's 7 points on the map, so it is going to be an odd number no matter what, so you guys are going to have to fight for LOCs. Tom, let's have a little talk about the strategy you've brought here.
Yeah, so I'm going for a Napoleon in Egypt battalion square here. Divisional square.
I've pointed out that it's not like I've pointed out it's not an incredible idea, but he's going to break it up when we're close to them.
Yes, he's just protecting the artillery, yeah, from the presumable Cossacks, seeing as both Russia and
Oh,
Spain
gosh,
can
right.
bring Cossacks. So
They can't be behind us, which is good.
yes, they can't be behind you due to Tom's deployment, which is good.
But they can be anywhere else.
They can be anywhere.
Oh gosh.
It's going to be interesting
Literally.
seeing the Cav battle as well, because I'm just going to be prepared for this. I think you guys are going to get out Cav just because, I mean, well,
We're
America.
definitely going to get out.
Yeah, you've brought two
not-
units
we're
of light
not.
Cav, and Tom's really.
We're not planning on engaging cavalry superiority early on. We're putting Napoleon on the left to try and confuse them, but he's got 2 dragoon guards. But I'm going to put him probably behind Chris just to freak them out a bit.
I assume so, yeah.
And then we're going to try and hold basically if you look at the map from the perspective of them, there's 4 houses on the left side of the map. We're going to try and hold that. Our right, their left.
Yep.
I think that's our best choice because we don't want to advance over open ground and get hit by tree-covered units.
Yep.
I will say, I am glad we got positioned where we are, because if we didn't, they'd call hacks, because their position is definitely
Oh yeah,
more superior.
if we were up there, game different story. We'd be sitting pretty if we were up
But
there.
don't worry, Tom. I have experience attacking this hill.
Yes, and also I made the point earlier on in my actual casting. Obviously, you wouldn't have heard that, but in a practice match before, we fought on this battle, and while it looks like one side is going to get up there a lot faster than the other, if you use the road, you actually can get there faster than them half the time. And I mean, depending on if they put all their eggs in one basket, sometimes you can just get up there and control it. However, it's going to be difficult to do that when you've got guerrillas that could be anywhere in that forest. And also, Spain could have brought a guerrilla 4-pounder, slapped it down there, canistered. He could have brought some of the skirmish infantry.
Okay, Tom. Maybe don't do the battalion mass if he can deploy a 4-pounder.
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
then he can just like shoot through that.
Well, the
Actually,
thing
no,
is,
I guess you'll have scouts.
it is an expensive unit, and also
Exactly.
to make sure it's actually fair, the 4-pounder has very low morale, so it can very quickly break if they don't use it correctly.
I don't think that they bought if they have bought it, it's a mistake because it's so expensive. I'm assuming.
I think it's one of the cheapest they can bring, but it's still
Oh, right.
it's worth more than bringing infantry, which Spain kind of desperately needs because their infantry is not very good. But yeah, no, this is going to be a very interesting battle. I'm excited to see where it goes. These guys have had a little bit of practice in the mod. Obviously, you guys have had slightly more. But
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's me and Tom, so how good are we really?
True. Yeah, Tom's going to lose his general somehow. I'm already predicting it.
I need to use the bathroom, so
Oh, okay.
there's no way.
I'll take a dookie.
Okay, hopefully not. I'm surprised that you guys aren't going up the center, but I mean, it does make sense.
Why? Why would we? Why are you surprised? Because I'm not going to change it now.
No, it's just, it's such a strong position in the middle is really about it. But the reason why I even let this map be used is because, while it does look like it's a really strong position, you are highlighting yourself, and it's very easy to attack from every side. Because we fought this battle before in 1812, but
Yeah.
it's very easy to attack, especially for you guys with just how much men you have. You are going into Russia though, but
Yeah.
it's
They're not going to expect another Russia, 2 Russias coming out of the market.
exactly, yeah. I don't think they're ready for the manpower that you guys are going to be bringing, especially with a Spain on the field. Spain is an interesting choice just because, yes, they have all this guerrilla stuff, but as I described before to people, Spain is a risk-it-all faction. You need to double down and then double down again, because if you don't play with risks as Spain, you lose every time. Just because they're, like, the only ways you can win for them is you need to charge, you need to get guerrilla units, you need to micromanage your cavalry well to get those guerrillas to do something. And if, like, both of those things are very, very risky, so if you don't go and play into those risks, well, you know, it causes problems for you, because you're never going to win a gunfight.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Actually, we'll see if their guerrilla units can do any damage, but
Yes.
I reckon we'll be alright.
Yeah, especially with the fact that all of your militia can form square.
Just to confirm, Dan, we get the same boxes around them for guerrilla deployment.
Yes, yes. Everybody,
Okay, good.
everyone has the same boxes as guerrilla deployment.
I can't see them, so I'm just making sure they're not going to spawn right on the corner and snatch an 18-pounder.
I can't see either because I'm watching from your perspective, but just as a fact, yes. If people bring gorillas, there will be the same size box every time.
Very good.
I'm just going to stay in here until the battle actually begins, so I have someone to talk
Are
to.
we're waiting for them.
Are you waiting for
Yeah.
them? I'll join their VC then, and I'll let them know that you guys are ready.
All right, Tom.
Yeah.
I have experience attacking up this center hill. You have
You are.
experience fighting the Spanish.
Not good experience.
Not good
though,
experience
Chris.
fighting the Spanish, let's be honest.
You have experience.
Tom's
That's
going to
what
start
counts.
getting some flashbacks very soon.
Expect. I love playing as guerrilla factions, so maybe I should have bought a Russian. But
Maybe, yes. Right, well,
Well,
good
then
luck,
they brought
guys.
the
Good
Russians,
luck,
so.
guys. I'll see you in a minute.
yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm just joining to let you guys know that Tom and Chris are ready whenever you guys are.
We're ready.
You're ready?
We're ready.
Okay, feel free to start then.
Woo.
And I'll jump into VCs just randomly. I'll appear every now and again.
Copy.
But good luck. Have a good battle. Try your best, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Yep, got it.
May the
He was about to say, "May the best man win." Sorry, I laughed a bit too quickly there. Whoops. Okay, so hopefully it should be starting anytime soon. Physically can't press it. Oh, there we go. And we're off. So the map has actually gotten pretty large for me because I enlarged it once, and that's just a feature of FCN. So I'm going to close that for a moment. Actually, I should probably open it back up. And we're starting to see the first of the guerrillas. So we've got some Cossack skirmishers garrisoning this house. I believe there's a unit over here garrisoning this house. I reckon they've just deployed them into all the houses that they think they can just immediately take off the bat. So as we were saying with Chris here, middle guard, it looks like their strategy is going to be to not attack that house because of the moonlighting. And there is some of the Spanish guerrillas there taking up the house. Looks like, yeah, they've got some artillery prepared. They're waiting for something to come down here while they stretch out onto this right side and try and use this little open area for their guns, because I don't think they brought any howitzers. Yeah, they didn't. 6-pounder, 2 18-pounders, and I believe it was 4 8-pounders over here, which is going to be very useful for canister. But as we see in this map, it's a lot of trees and a lot of hills, so they won't really be able to do much round shot damage. This left side of the map has been completely left alone by the Imperial faction here, as their strategy is to mainly go up to this house, take this house, take this house, and take this house. It's mainly going to be, I reckon, it's going to be a little line here. I might edit this in. But they're going to try and take a line of this house, and this house as their basic line, and then do a combined assault onto the center. But as we heard from our opponents here, the Spanish are going to move into this area here, take up the center, and it sounded like the Russians, despite being their general over here, unless I misunderstood what they were saying, they're actually going to this left side. It sounded like they were planning on moving their troops over here, which, if that is true, the Imperial side will have a better chance, because they've got their units set up, they've got some artillery here, they've got a couple of units set up here. By the time that they're assaulting this house, and they're working together to do so, this whole forest line here will be a barrier that they can hold their troops in while they're fighting for this town. And it's also a nice little hill, so if the Russians do sweep around this side, not only are they opening themselves to this massive field, they're also attacking into a hill and trees. And it's going to take them a long time to do that, because it's a lot of forest over here. Let's see if we can listen down in it. We've got Joaquin Blake, or Hoyes, as we do call him sometimes. I believe if they do sweep around this side, it is a lot of open terrain to spot them in. Some scout cav here. Also a lot of forest to march in. But on the other side, This is a very strong position, and it looks like they're going to claim it first with some cavalry. If they can get up onto this hill first, they get a great position for their artillery.
We have taken a building, sir!
And they also get a great defensive position where they can hold along this ridge, put some men in the house, and use their artillery to just blast everything here and maybe sweep around this side. But they've got a lot of men, so they do have the ability to just shove people off the defensive positions. We've got some Russians here. We've got Bagration, arguably my favorite Russian general after reading War and Peace. Yes, I'm a massive nerd. But we're going to have a little battle over here, depending on whether or not this is a little attempt to deceive the enemy by putting a general over here. Make them think, oh well, maybe they do have some forces here. Now, I'm unsure if there is actually a Russian force coming down this way. If it is, it's going to be a very interesting battle to see over here. I hate the word interesting, but it's going to be a very good battle to see over here. A lot of very strong defensible terrain against a lot of very good defensible terrain, open fields, perfect for round shot. However, there is this little gully here for charges to get up into, and it splits their defense. So, if I was attacking from these guys, which I actually did recently in a practice match, you might see, you might not. Personally, I would have marched up here with some light infantry, get this house, at least see what's going on over here, push some men into here, have a little defensive line here, and this road right here is absolutely gorgeous for charges, because there is nothing better than a road to help you in a charge. If you're able to get a couple of grenadiers in here, you can just blast up the center. However, it's fully down to the French for any charges, because as America here, America doesn't actually have any grenadiers. It's a strange inclusion. I'm actually not sure why we did that, but they did have some very good light infantry, and these trees are going to be perfect for their men to just shoot. However, I don't know if there's going to be many charges from the French either. I believe the main strategy from the French and Americans here is just going to be move their troops up here and have a line engagement until they grind the enemy down. It's mainly going to be charges coming from, if I'm correct, Spain, and it's going to be charges from Russia. Saying Russia, we have a horse artillery moving up to take possession up here, a very commanding artillery position. Some great shots on these troops here, and unfortunately Chris does have some reserves back here that might get overshot. But it is a good move moving these men up here. There is likely some guerrilla cavalry hiding somewhere nearby to protect this. If you're hearing those clicks, by the way, that is Chris here making some moves. I'm holding space here, and as it is from his POV, I can see when he's moving his things. Looks like a lot of his orders just involve going over here, holding space. We can see Tom is just going to be moving in here. Some artillery here, very nice. Firing up here, likely. There might be a little cavalry engagement over here. Now, I'm actually not sure which of these cavalry have better stats. There is another Russian Hussar here. If that Russian Hussar fights these guys, it is over for the Americans here. However, the French are supporting them. And we've got some Miquelette bands going up against the Buckenballers. Are they gonna... Oh, they're already shooting. Let's have a little look at that. Try to have a view of this without burning. Let's see. Buckenballers, once again, have got shotgun rounds. So they are going to do a lot of damage in a volley the closer they are. However, despite being long range, they can still do damage. I'm not sure if Chris has realized that these guys are skirmishers. He should be in range. Come on. There we go. They've realized. Hearty volley. Some shells going over here. Or I should say bullets. They have lost 5 men in this militia unit. Let's see the casualties over here. We have lost 2 in the Miquelette band. And of course the artillery setting up is not going to be helpful for the American side here. Here is the French artillery going. French artillery looks like they're just going to try and funnel up here, likely get a little position up here. obviously some more militia. He is just going to try and push up this hill a little bit with some militia. Moscow Dragoons turning up. Some Hussars and Dragoons. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Dragoons. Despite being a large unit, these guys are medium cav. So they have got some lovely, lovely costumes going on, some good uniforms, some good helmets. But the stats aren't fantastic. These guys can fight heavy cav. They can take down heavy cav. However, generally, bringing 2 Dragoons is roughly the same as bringing 1 heavy cav, and if you use the heavy cav right, you can beat them every time. Some shots going off. Wonder where they landed. I'm guessing that was a unicorn going off. Sounds like we've got this gun firing. Where is it firing? Is it trying to fire these? I think it is. I don't think that's going to be anywhere near hitting that. Where are the Spanish going? Unless I got this completely wrong, and in fact the Spanish are the ones attacking over here, and the Russians are taking up positions here. Seeing as it looks like most of the forces we've seen over here, other than these Mikolait bands, are actually Russian. We've got a second unit of horse artillery moving down here. I will say this now, if this horse artillery goes here, it will be a mistake. Just because... Oh, yep, nope, looks like I have been proven wrong. The Russians are actually taking up this left flank. With some light infantry. Very interesting. It is rare to see a Russia with light infantry, however it is a nice sight to see. The Mikolait band are standing diagonally to the Americans. Yes, if they put this horse artillery up here, it will be very dangerous for their position because it will be 2 guns together in an open field. Oh, some shots from down here with the 6-pounder. Not hitting anything. However, close. Where are they putting this? If they put this here, if the American and French plan of attack is to attack around this direction, they're kind of cutting off the enemy from their guns, which is never something you want to do. Where is this gun firing? It's looking like down here. Imagine trying to hit these weapon ballers who are now pouring into these guys. Some more artillery shots, and here come the Spanish on the left flank of the Americans. I don't think that they would have been expecting this. However, like I said, the Spanish are not very good in gunfights, and they're going up against the weapon ballers over here, a couple units of militia, and there is a lot of units back here that can protect these guys. You just need to bring them up, and he's got a very strong position here of a 6-pounder that he could move up. Right now it's not actually hitting anything over here. If he moves this up, he has a great canister position and a lovely flatland to fire over. However, it looks like the Spanish are actually not moving into the field to fight him, but are in fact moving into the forest to fight him. So, if I was Chris, I would probably be moving some men up here, but they're probably focusing a little bit on here. He's been shuffling his cavalry up a little bit. The French have pushed off the Russian Hussars. Hussars versus Carabiners, we know how that one's gonna go. Total destruction. An artillery shot flies over a guard. I think we heard a slight charge there from the Carabiners, which scared off the Hussars. And there is a lot of units over here, a lot of Spanish Fusiliers in heavy chunks. They are going to be going up into this forest line and making it a little bit more difficult. However, that's a good point. The Spanish here are only really helping with 2 points. And it's like, oh, a lot of the Russian army has turned up as well onto this left flank. Looks like they're not necessarily holding this middle and left too much. They're mainly focusing on holding the defensive position. The Spanish catching me out. I thought the Spanish was going to be attacking down this direction. However, pressing onto this way, it's going to be strong depending on whether or not they move reserves. It looks like Chris has noticed it now. Artillery firing back, not hitting anything. There is artillery protecting this over here, and I'm not seeing any Spanish artillery that will be able to protect these guys. These guys are likely going in unprotected without artillery support. Chris is going to stick to this little forest line if he has, so he can fall back. He's moving some more men up. Yeah, it looks like they are focusing on this. However, just as a point, holding these 3 is a good idea, but by them attacking this direction, yes, they're taking this 1-pointer. If they can hit this house, then it is all plains and flatland that they can push against it this way. The main battle is going to culminate here. I did see earlier there was a lot of Jaegers here, which are a solid position for a map where you need to get places quickly, like this. He's moving some men up here. However, just as a bit of a rule, I tend to stay away from Jaegers when you're playing as Russia, because when you play as Russia, you're expecting one thing: manpower. You're wanting a lot of men. However, this is going to be helpful, because if he can get over here, he can maybe push this cavalry back and spot this French army. But the French are just going to overwhelm these guys. And yes, they are light infantry, but they're going to get overwhelmed, and they're walking into plains where there is artillery set up to fire down. But as I was saying, yeah, manpower is something you expect from a Russia. But if they're bringing this many units of light infantry, it means they get less units of these 300-man units. And not only do they get less men of the 300-man units, they instead now have these units of 190 men that do not have good light infantry stats, because Russia didn't have the best light infantry. And it looks like we've got a little bit of a cavalry standoff on this side. Some Spanish dragoons, some guerrilla lancers, another guerrilla lancer looking to flank around this side. However, Chris has got that protected with some of these guys and his own light cavalry. Probably able to form a square here to ward off any attempts to punch through this gap. Looks like a early engagement is going to happen over here with the Spanish. Personally, I wouldn't be assaulting that. I just think it's a little bit dangerous. Like I said, no artillery support, whereas Chris here has got a 6-pounder. They don't have any cavalry support, yes. They do have a lot of flatlands over here, yes. But it's going to come down to the infantry engagement. And there is a charge somewhere. Where was that? Sounds like... Oh, this gun is dangerous over here. Some of the buck and ballers firing against these lines, and because these guys are slightly in front of these guys, they're going to take some overshot at some point. Here is a 10-pound unicorn moving into place. So we've got artillery here, 10-pound unicorn here. We have got a 6-pound horse artillery to hold up here with canister. Cavalry charge somewhere. Looks like Tom is going for a hussar charge on the light infantry, who can form square. Yep, there's the square coming up now. And he's pulling away. That's going to do some casualties on the square. He's going to have to pull that away. Possibly losing that unit of cavalry. While the Spanish are still advancing over here. They're not actually advancing with their full force. They're keeping them here. And some of them are pushing down here into the buck and ballers. That is going to be a very nasty engagement. I'm pretty sure what Tom was doing here with the hussars is he's trying to slow these light infantry down before they get on the hill, because he wants to be the first one to this hill. If he can get onto this ridgeline before these guys, he will have a massive, massive advantage in the gunfight. Looks like a cavalry maneuver over here from the Spanish, and the Spanish have finally reached the lines of the Americans, taking the only casualties so far in the gunfight. And the hidden units of the United States militia are opening fire. Just regular militia, not buck and ballers. Well, he noticed. Is he just going to try and go all the way around? Because if he does, Chris is very much ready for that. He's not noticed with the cavalry. They're just going to get torn to pieces. The light infantry have only just reformed from their squares. Tom's light infantry, not light infantry, light cavalry have come back. And it looks like the cavalry have finally spotted it, despite taking casualties. That is 10 less men in this unit, 4 less in this one. Dragoons are moving up, and it looks like the infantry has fallen back. The unicorns are ready. This gun has already lost a cannon. Very good for the Americans. I believe it is this battery up here which will be laying gunfire into them. A big tree in the way. Hopefully none of the shots are hitting that. But that is a great position to counter this 6-pound battery, and it's a good thing they've got those guns there to weaken this spot, because this is going to be very dangerous. If they're trying to charge up here, like I said with the roads, they don't want to be doing it into canister, which is going to happen. And it looks like some skirmishers are coming here to lay down some stakes. Interesting strategy here from Dondu, who is playing as the Russians. It looks like he is keeping his light infantry in this valley rather than taking the hill. Likely because they know that there's going to be men up here that they will be fighting, so they can pull back. But that's not going to go too well for him. Oh, and his men in the middle of deploying square have been hit by their own gun. They've lost 12 men. And they're also getting shot in the back by their own Russian allies, who are taking casualties now from the overshot. Looks like this unit here is hitting these guys with the artillery. stakes have been deployed. Now no cavalry can go up there without losing men. And here is the Spanish line. It looks like we've got a quick gunfire engagement over here. Chris here with the buckenballers. He is actually matching the Spanish line with his units because he has stretched them out. Spain, on the other hand, has not done that. They have killed not very many men just because they're fighting again in this forest, which is not good to be up against. I reckon that this is going to be a engagement that the Spanish are going to regret later. They are losing far more men in this gunfight than Chris is. He's lost 5 men. They have lost 2, 4, 6, 3, 1, 2. Really not getting a lot of casualties down. And the Kentucky militia buckenballers are going to be tearing holes in these guys. They are moving some Nicolette bands onto their flank. Looks like Chris is redeploying some units to go over there. By now, Tom is getting pretty close to being able to blow up here. And the Russians, it looks like their entire flank over here is being held by light infantry, which is dangerous. Of course, he might have some more units somewhere. Unicorn flying in some shots. Nearly one taking a tree, saving Chris. He's moving his natives over there as well. Strong volley. Yeah, this is a dangerous engagement for the Spanish, because really all Chris is doing is he's trading 3 units for a lot more. And because he's stretched his units out more than they have, probably going to win this engagement. Artillery is trying to catch out these dragoons over here. Can't move these men just because the cavalry is here. However, Tom is bringing some dragoons over to bat that back. If he's able to get rid of that, he can probably move some of the infantry up. Slight engagement still going on here, with the militia taking on the Nicolette bands, arguably not winning the engagement. And these are buckenballers, these are important units. Taking casualties. Artillery firing in, not hitting anything yet, other than I think they've taken 30 men off, not 30, 7 men off that unit. Good flanking move from King Arthur here, bringing his Nicolettes to shoot them in the flank. However, not doing massive damage. This is a very strong force. A couple more men turning up here. Looks like this is the majority of the Spanish infantry. Heavy chunks being matched off by 4 units. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units of infantry fighting 4 militia. And they're not winning. They might be able to beat these guys just because they have so many more guns. Bringing their cavalry around like this to try and catch this cavalry out over here. Still not too much happening. The Sankula have finally reached the hill. Tom is now basically in position. We have got a charge somewhere. Cavalry charge. Guerrilla Hussars going into the militia. Good charge from the Spanish, although they are currently shooting their own cavalry.
Our men are running, sir.
Unfortunately for the Americans, they do not have the leisure of the French Sankula. They cannot square their militia. So that militia unit is now done. Although his men are still shooting into his own cavalry. Bring some Tiradores up. Looks like Chris is having to devote a decent majority of his troops. He still has a lot of them fighting in the center. Which is an interesting choice, because if he's able to push off... Oh, actually, do you know what? My apologies, I was wrong. They can form square. I just wasn't... Yeah, I guess he just wasn't paying attention over here. Nicely done by Chris. If Chris... Oh, here's the guns. I was saying earlier, if the Spanish don't bring up guns, they're going to be in big trouble because they do not have artillery superiority over here. If Chris is able to beat back these guys with the forces he has right now, which he is arguably doing quite well, then the Russians are going to be in big trouble, because they're going to be going up against not just one army worth of men here, or at least half an army of men here. They're also going to have to go against this wall of manpower that is the French army. Tom bringing an 8-pounder up. These units are going to be in a lot of trouble. Another 8-pounder up here. Where else? Where else? What other guns does he have? Looks like he's moving some Sankula to the left. Possibly the middle. Some more Sankula up here. Does he have any elites up here? He has both his elites up here with this Sankula wall, which is a good move because these guys do not have good morale. These guys are still just battling it out. Looks like they've killed a decent amount of these Mikolets and skirmishers. Not a lot of overshot has hit. Artillery is just pummeling this position. He's still got his men in square here. He's moving these guys back. He is looking at this side of the battlefield. He is in a gorgeous position with this forest line.
Sir,
He is killing far
our
more
general
men
is
than he
under attack.
losing. General probably had a ammo land near him. 10-pound unicorn is shifting. It looks like they finally realized just how much damage. Oh, what a shot! Looks like the light cav is going for a charge on the 8-pounders. And Tom doesn't have anything to counter that. He's just going to have to unlimber his guns. Hope the cavalry doesn't get there in time, which looks like they probably will. That might be a dead battery. We'll have to see. Looks like the cavalry might just catch this side of the square. Good shots from them. And they've reached the gun, however, they have routed just in time. Tom did lose decent amount of men in that charge, and now this gun can't move anymore. They're trapped to stay there forever. However, it's not over yet. Looks like the Mikolets are going for a charge on the militia. It did not work because these guys just got bucking ball and sprayed them with a shotgun. And once this line kind of moves up a bit, they're getting canistered as well by this 6-pounder. I'm not sure if that is actually reaching them. They've got some great enfilade here, presumably still just trying to kill this 6-pounder. And the Russians are falling back from over here. Let's look back in this engagement over here. Despite losing a lot of men, these guys did come back. Oh my god, Spain, please move your men. You're not winning. You're not winning this engagement. He's lost about 40 men. He has lost far more than that. This is a very, very, very strong hold from Chris over here playing as America. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Of course, the Unicorn has moved out of our view. I'm guessing the Unicorn is going somewhere around here to try and protect against this wall of infantry. There is so much infantry to go up against over here. It's going to be prime position for our Unicorn. Looks like Chris is just going to let this fight out until these guys have either won or lost. Spain's going to lose a lot more men. This is very well played by Chris. This is very well played by Chris. He has done far more damage than he's taking with only militia as well. Actually, he has got a regular here as well. My apologies, but he has got one militia and two militia, one infantry going up against almost 5, 6, 7 units of infantry. He is not losing that engagement, despite numbers. This is a 1-hour timer. I actually can't see the timer due to this being a spectate. It's going to be interesting to see these guys move because they're going to have to move at some point soon. Make some kind of aggressive play. These militia are taking some heavy shots. They're giving it back. How many men have they lost over here? Because it looks like a lot. So we've got 2 here. So that's 2. That is 18, so there's 20. Wow. Wow. 40 men lost in this unit. 15 in this one. 30 in this one. 30 in this one. In return, they've lost 30 men here. 20. Oh, sorry. 20 men here. This unit was killed by mainly cavalry. Again, this is militia and 1 infantry. Really giving it back. And I fear that this attack over here by the Spanish is ill-advised. They are bringing some more men over, but losing this many men this quickly could just mean that if Chris is able to really hit them hard, then the Russian player might be isolated, and it's going to be tough enough for this Russian player going up against Tom. With the amount of men he has, Tom's a good player, he knows what he's doing. Let's bring some more men over just to hold the back, it looks like. There's some Spanish cavalry behind them. Possibly to go after the generals or any artillery they're singling about. Chris has moved up a militia battalion to hit these skirmishers. And it looks like the Spanish player is doubling down and is in fact bringing more infantry to swing round, but he's just going to be put in the same position of fighting low tier units, losing more than he's killing in a forest. Looking back over here, looks like not much is happening. Chris is just fighting slowly against these Russians who are giving it back. 6-pound horse artillery has been moved over here. Possibly firing into a tree, we'll see. Some Russian cavalry making an attempt on some guns, which they got! Wow, that's very unfortunate for the French. One of their 8-pounders was charged. I apologise, didn't see that one. It's not looking fantastic for the Imperial side, although it's equally going badly for the Spanish. Artillery coming in, not heck much. Wow. Such a shame that Thomas got out like that. It's an 8-pounder, useful artillery piece. This engagement's still dragging on. I still don't see why Chris shouldn't just stay here. He's in a very strong position. He's killing more than he's losing. Wonder when it looks like Tom here is going to make a push. He is firing his artillery now here. And as I say, Chris starts moving his men up. I'm wondering how many men Chris is eventually going to swing over this way. It looks like most of his army is over here in the center. Hearing some canister shot somewhere. What's that? This 8-pounder is firing canister up here into the militia. So the Spanish player has finally forced Chris out of this force line with a very cleverly placed 8-pounder to deliver canister into them. At the back it looks like we are seeing a little bit of a cavalry maneuver to scare this calf back, which works. Hopefully we see some more shots. I am very interested to see how this battle goes. Tom looks like he's just holding this line here. They have got 1-2 houses confirmed. Probably going to take this one, let's be honest. That leaves 4 houses over here. I'm not sure they can take this middle house. If they're able to do a very strong attack up here, they do have a lot of men here. Looks like they are ready for something. If they're able to kill this gun, swing into this guy, might be a done deal. Oh, a great shot from the artillery. Wow. Jesus. And from the other side, not hitting. Wow. Oh, hitting them there. This poor Russian musketeer is getting torn to pieces. Very well played by these guys putting their artillery up here. Looks like they are shifting some men to maybe pressure up here. If they're able to pressure up here, I don't know how much of this force is able to be seen. Actually, most of it is not. Not spotted, not spotted, none of this is spotted. Looks like they might try and put a little bit of pressure on here and just absolutely slam through that right side, but it's going to be done with militia, so it's going to be very interesting. Chris finally pulling back to his own artillery. He is going to get outranged by the 8-pounder over here, which it looks like he's firing back into. He is again holding a forest against a lot of Spanish. And I'm going to make the point here that I do not see Spanish elites over here compared to the Leathernecks, which are some American Marines. Plus they've got some native warriors here. This unit is going to be far more likely to break than the American one. I get the feeling that that engagement on the left is going to be an American victory. And depending on how strong of a victory it is, who knows? He might just be able to grab this house up here and call it a win. Oh, and they get another gun over here. Looks like it's destined to be artillery death on this side. They now, despite having 2 units of artillery over here, are now at the same gun strength as a normal battery. Again, Spanish advancing very close to these militia, which are not buckenball, which is a shame. If they were, these guys would be getting absolutely torn to shreds. Marching very close. Is he just going to go for... Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go for some point-blank fire, trying to just punch straight through. Chris, on the alternative, though, has brought a stronger force over here. He is getting outnumbered pretty hard. He is winning the gunfights he's in, though. He's He's able to canister up the center. This is a dangerous, dangerous position for both sides, although it looks like Chris is probably going to hold on to the most because he has got better melee troops. They are getting chewed up a little bit by overshot. He has got his general here. He's got the leathernecks to hold as well, and he's got a couple of good infantry in, and he can canister is the main thing. Tom is making a push. It's going to be not as strong as it would have been without this gun. He has got a carabiner here to fight the cuirassiers. I believe the French cuirassiers, carabiners, are probably a bit stronger than those cuirassiers, but we'll see how it goes. Spanish still advancing into point blank range, taking more casualties than they're giving. Their line here, again, fighting men in a forest. Yes, they have got more guns, but because the units are heavily chunked up, only the front rank, first two ranks are firing. He's adjusting his men. Of course, the second I say it, he thins his lines out. Chris moving his men up to actually match him with the canister up here, doing damage, doing some serious, serious damage. I reckon this left side is going to be what's going to decide this battle. Chris bringing his native skirmishers up to skirmish the artillery, very nice. Looks like a not major push, however, still a push. Sankula entering there. Looks like Dondu here is going to go for a bit of a cavalry charge. Well, the French see it, they do. They see it. That cavalry's not going to get far, although he might just try and get through the gap and get the artillery. Although I don't see his chances being too high for that. Will Tom get some canister off? No, they need to reload. He might actually just thin the needle. No! Well played by Tom. Well played by Tom. He's got some cavalry to protect it. And a good charge as well. Those hussars are dead. Well played. Well played. 10 dragoons facing off against these guys. Looks like Chris is going to shift his regulars over to the left side. Again, he is really not taking a lot of casualties because he is in a forest here, despite being point blank range. Looks like the Spanish are going to try and move into this open ground again to where Chris has men in a forest. Looks like the house is now in French hands, which means that they do hold 3 points. Again, they need to take 4. Or at least they need to take 1
Our
of these
men
4.
are running, sir.
Unit is running. Hussar is getting a lovely kill on the native skirmishers. Possibly carrying on to this unprotected 6-pounder. Although they might break in time. He's got square open. Come on. What's he going for? He's going for the guns. Is he going to get them?
Artillery!
He is going to get them. Tom trying to save them with some Sankula, although I think it's a little bit too late for that. Chris has shifted some of his warriors over here. Again, this is their strongest position on the left. I was not expecting the Spanish to be so aggressive, seeing as they are defenders now by LOC. They're supposed to be defending. That gun very possibly could come back. Just shows why you need to have some cavalry protection for things. Michelet band getting chewed up once again. The Spanish line is getting thrashed by canister. Down to 150 men in that unit. They are not winning this engagement. If I was the Spanish, I'd be leaving very, 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 very quickly. This is very much an American victory over here. Spanish need to be careful. Still waiting for the big push from Tom. Looks like he's just going to try and batter these guys down. To be honest, oh, some Russian guardsmen on the left. Some Jaegers as well. I think it's a dangerous move to have their men over here being light infantry because they're just going to get squashed. I reckon by now the Russians have probably moved some units over there. Michelets are just going to die. Ooh, charge. Oh no, sorry, not charge. He has told his men to kill these cazadores. Possibly the best shooting unit in the Spanish contingent over here. And the gun has come back. Very fortunate. It looks like Press is making an attack a little bit. Pressing into Opolchenia. Wow, okay, so it looks like the Russians have Gone for Opolchenia up here. Not a fan of that myself. Yes, they are holding against these men quite well. They are in a hell. But one powerful attack, maybe if Tom brought up his Sankula here, one powerful attack from here, they could just punch straight through. They do have artillery support over here, but the artillery is weak. Nicolette's dying over here. I think Crest is mainly focusing over here. He's moving some infantry to pressure these dragoons. Tom could probably go in for that. 4th Warriors extending the line here. Spanish Fusiliers are just getting shredded here. I don't know what the timer is saying, but this is going to be very interesting. I don't know if Tom has realized yet that this is a very, very open site to get. Preobrazhensk Grenadiers, not Grenadiers, Guards coming up here. Sankula can probably hold that for a while. If he's able to get one of those Sankula in a charge there, kill it with a heavy cav. We'll just have to see how he's doing. Crest making another selection. Dragoons shifting away because the militia was moving up there to form square. Tom is going to be pulling some of his dragoons back. Very aggressive move from the Spanish. They're losing more than they're killing. They're not killing the 6-pounder either. 6-pounder is just blasting canister away. Artillery is going for the weak Opolchenia over here, who are tearing these men apart. Wow. These are regulars as well. Regulars versus Opolchenia. Watch an artillery shot, not quite breaking there. The trees, not quite hitting there. We're gonna have to see a good move here. Nice. Crest catching some of these lancers out who are very tired. Although not quite catching them, unfortunately. Oh, and we've got our first break. 135 man Fusilier battalion killed by canister. Crest is stepping up over here. He's getting a little bit more aggressive. He's got some reserves. Lancers are dead, shattered. They're not coming back. Tom is moving up some Sankula here to support his friend. Oh, looks like they're going for the artillery attack on Cuirassier, but they're not quite going to be able to get it. If this gun was still alive, Cuirassier would be in big danger. Crest potentially going for a charge over here with the next. He has got some elites nearby. He's got the Leathernecks. Plus they've got some cavalry support now that these cavalry have kind of backed off. They're really just ignoring the
One of our
center.
units has used all its ammunition, sir.
Oh, one of the units have run out of ammo. I'm guessing that is these guys, maybe? No. Must be one of the militia on the left. Maybe. Spanish finally pulling off now that they see that these native warriors are coming around, but this is a hefty loss for the Spanish. They have seriously underestimated the strength of the American defense. How's this gunfight going? Looks like the Russians are winning this gunfight up here. They are on the top of a hill in a forest line. Same problem as the Spanish had. These guys are in a forest. Spanish fully falling back. To be fair, he should have done this a while ago. Now these guys are getting canistered. There's a hole in the Spanish line. I don't know how they're planning on plugging it. I'm expecting a big attack here from Tom. He's going to need to get everything and just slam it up here if they've got any chance. Russian musketeers going for a charge on the militia. Oh, it's unfortunate that the unit had just moved from there. Not sure how this melee is going to go. Arguably, the militia should lose this one because they are musketeers, and they also don't have any elites over here for the morale. Chris is actually moving to match the Spanish. I agree with that. I think right now the Spanish are the weakest position by far. I think holding this right side is... Oh, some Moscow units coming in. Nearly getting hit by the artillery. Tom's got the Sankula next to them. They are charging into the backs of their own men, which isn't great. I think arguably the best move
Our
they can
men
do
are
right
running,
now
sir.
is move all of their reserves over this way. Try and push the Spanish back, because the Spanish are in an open plain, already losing the gunfight. There's some of their Marines now. This is their more expensive units. This is probably the majority of the Spanish army. I don't know how many men they will have brought. But they're going up against militia, and they are losing. They've got not a lot of manpower. These men just get canistered to death. And it's open terrain. This is really the best place for them to push, because alternatively, they've got to attack a hill. Big charge coming down from the Russians, although they are going into Italian mass squares, which are very strong squares. Going for the artillery. Is that canister? Please tell me it's canister. Oh! No! No! Oh, it's so unfortunate. Sankula are firing from the back row into their own men, which is unfortunate, but it looks like the gun crew is safe. The Italian mass holding off the charge pretty solidly. This Russian unit has broken. Tom has prepared his little assault on this right side. That square is going to die eventually. Damn, they are seriously giving it back. Over here, it looks like finally the Buckenballers over here are getting grinded down a bit, but that's fine. They can stand and fight as long as these guys are getting canister off. This gunfight is definitely at an American advantage because the manpower is not on the Spanish side, plus they don't have very good stats. Oh, great artillery shot. Opolchenia are now coming in to finish these guys off. The Russians break! And the Opolchenia might not even win this, because they're Opolchenia, they suck! That was a fantastic artillery shot just to break these guys. And suddenly it looks like this side is wide open. I'm hoping there's probably some Russian reserves waiting here. But this is the time for the assault. This is the American-French assault.
Our
Largely
men are
American.
running, sir.
Opolchenia finally breaking that militia square. That militia square holding off multiple units of Russians. Oh, and they're getting absolutely slammed by artillery. Opolchenia moving down into the artillery. Not great for the Opolchenia. This center is getting shredded a little bit. Wow, whole unit of the Fusiliers firing. Very unfortunate for the Americans here. Although they again aren't losing what they are taking. They are doing a very strong job. Artillery able to get some great shots off on this Opolchenia. One good shot is probably going to break them. But it's a full-scale assault. Shoved Sankula as well. Very likely to just swing round them. Looks like we missed a cavalry engagement over here. 10 Dragoons getting killed off by the Spanish. Interesting engagement so far. Looks like the Spanish have moved their right flank over here. Not a good position, in my opinion, because they're just entirely firing through a forest. Don't think that even hit them. Regulars are getting chewed up a little bit. Although, this is the thing. The Americans here are able to handle the front, keep some units here, trap their artillery, while the French are able to just storm their flank, all the while holding off. Oh, cavalry charge over here. These Dragoons are going to lose straight into 2 squares. Cavalry coming around to help. Spanish over here are losing. Oh, they're going for a charge on the 6-pounder. Well, they get it. No, they will not. Canister. Unit doesn't break, though. No, they broke. Did they get the lumbers? They did. They got the lumbers. That cannon is now trapped there. That's unfortunate. Okay, now we're seeing a bit more of the Russian force, but they're heavily battered. Heavily battered. They've got such massive artillery superiority on this side of the battle. Just because how they deploy things. Spanish are losing. Natives coming to clean the cav up. The Spanish Dragoons are very dead. Yeah, the Spanish are losing pretty hard on this side. Honestly, I'm surprised that the... Wow. I'm surprised that the Americans haven't brought more reserves over, because these are probably the easiest guys to push back. However, by doing that, they would be essentially splitting their army in half and leaving Tom all on his own. When you're attacking a hill, it's always been said the best way to do it: pin one side and hit the other. And that is exactly what they're doing. Their experience is showing now. Their men finally unfarming from square. Spanish are not very good in a gunfight. Mainly good in melee. Apart from these guys, the British, which are a 260-man allied British foot battalion. This is basically just a British line infantry. And I believe Chris has seen that, and he's just cannon over here. Big assault coming from from Tom and Chris. Artillery hitting over here. They better be careful not to hit the general, although that is mainly the Russian fault. They should not have their general in such important units such as an Opolzhenia. I'm very intrigued how this battle's going to go. I fully believe if this battle continues how it will, the Americans are going to win that. So it depends on what goes on here with the Sans-Culottes. Militia versus militia. Although they do have the artillery superiority over here, these Russian musketeers are getting chewed up. However, they are definitely giving it back to the Sans-Culottes. Sans-Culottes definitely can just barrel up here. Tom still not acting on it, although he probably is focusing on other aspects of the battle. This center doesn't look very strong, although that might just be because we can't see it. I believe the Spanish players said they had some howitzers. I think these are back here somewhere, firing down. Looks like they're not getting much effect though. Yeah, these Jaegers are definitely pushable. Looks like they're going for an assault on the hill first, and they are doing some damage. The Russians have had to move their Grenadiers up here. Not a great move, because having Grenadiers in gunfight, it's not exactly what they were made to do. Plus, they are very much in the artillery's range, although the artillery is primarily focusing on killing the Opolzhenia. Here we go. American reserves are moving in here. Plus, they've still got some men here. Yes, they are firing into the Sans-Culottes back, but that's fine. Is that Mikos? I'm guessing the Miklet band's out of ammo. Going for a charge in the militia. 70-man militia. There is a about 10-man infantry difference. Although these guys are skirmishers and light infantry, so they're destined to lose that. Chris has moved his men up to match the Spanish line, who are in a forest, so they have some pretty solid chances. Yes, they are chewing up the Americans over here. He's actually got his old guard in here as well, although the old guard are definitely outperforming when they're up against Spanish Fusiliers. Spanish line is crumbling, in my opinion, my professional opinion. Charge! A charge off the hill into
Our
the
men are running, sir!
American militia. It's a good charge. Good move from the Russians. Looks like the Miklet band is dead. This side looks very weak for what it is. And I'm surprised that Tom hasn't acted on it as much as he has. He has moved some men up, he has got another reserve corps here, he's got even more here and even more here. We'll see how it goes. Some Grenadiers shifting over to the left, the Swiss Grenadiers. Still looking like the Americans are very much winning this gunfight. This center point is weak, yes. They do have some Fremantle Colour battalions, they do have the Warriors here, and his general, although his general is getting some hefty overshot. Where did the artillery go? Artillery is, yep, he is definitely targeting that allied foot now. If he's able to kill that, that's going to be a big victory for him. Artillery really not making a difference here. Moscow Dragoons coming in. Okay, Tom is moving his men up a little bit over here. They have been spotted.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
Likely one of these guys. They have been fighting to the nail. Very straight line here. This is going to come down to Tom. I'm waiting for him to do. I don't know what the time left on the clock is, but we'll see how it's going. Chris forming a square, although the square isn't really doing much against those Moscow Dragoons. They might hold, they don't. Unfortunate. Sankula getting chewed up. Russians really holding. Still waiting on Tom. Still waiting on Tom to do this. Some cavalry back here.
One of our units has used all its ammunition,
Another unit running
sir.
out of ammo. I think it's both of these guys. But there is no hole in the Spanish army. Allied foot. Still getting canisters. Never mind, not canister, round shot. Round shot hitting the Spanish Fusiliers here. Grenadiers coming in to plug the hole. Oh, a great shot from the artillery hitting the Moscow Dragoons there. Tom needs to seriously think about bringing some men in there. Big gunfight going on against the Spanish. Looks like it is currently going in the way of America. Okay, despite being in a forest, they are still getting outshot because they are just that terrible. Okay, Chris has shifted his men over here. Looks like they've both just kind of ignored this center. Walloon Guards, the elites of the Spanish, are being brought in. The artillery is not in a great spot for a round shot, unfortunately. Looks like a 7-pound howitzer over here has finally been revealed.
Our men are running, sir.
Another unit is running. Where? I'm guessing over here. Yes, over here. That Opolchenya really holding their own over here. For 350 men. Okay, here we go. Tom has finally decided that this is the time. And he is moving up a very solid amount of men. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sankula. Another 2 here. He's got 7. Then he's got the 4 demi-brigades, which are 300-man infantry units that are genuinely just very good infantry with 300 men. Very solid units. Definitely pack a punch. Chris forming a column here, possibly looking to strike up the center. If he's able to do that, they take this house here. Because I'm very surprised that I've not seen very much of the Russians. They have got 1 artillery here. They had another one here, which I think they moved. Actually, they're moving this one now. Yeah, I think they moved that one over here. So they've got 2 guns here. This one's moving. They've got a guard. They've got 1 guard in the flank over here from the Spanish. Press preparing to just blast up the center, but there is a wall of grenadiers here, which are going to be very interesting to see in action. All the while they're getting canistered here. Proper engagement starting here. Looks like the Opolchenya are in trouble. Gunfight
One of our
coming
units
back
has
from
used
these
all its
guys.
ammunition, sir.
Another unit running out of ammo. Seems to be the tagline for this battle. Looks like the Spanish cavalry isn't something to worry about anymore, I think. Press outflanking the Spanish over here, who are now using their grenadiers in the line. There is a hole in the Spanish. I would join the Imperial VC right now, but I think they're focusing a little bit too hard. Tom is finally making his push on this side against the Jaegers. These Jaegers are small and not the best in melee. Hopefully they realize that. Looks like an artillery shot might have hit these guys. Yeah. This is going to be a very interesting engagement. Looks like they are finally going all in. I'm guessing the timer might be slowing down a bit. Spanish still losing the gunfight. If this just continues how it is, I believe it's going to be the Americans coming out on top. Although we'll see. Even more units pushing around. Looks like they're not going to even care about the fact that there is artillery here. Although these men are starting to suffer some serious damage, mainly because they're getting shot in the back by their own men. Cavalry charge on the SRs here. Save the guard chasseurs. It's not working. Guard chasseurs do fire a volley though. Cavalry charge over
Our
here.
men are running,
Didn't even
sir.
see it, the Cuirassier. Tom's using that to get his carabiners behind them though. It's very unfortunate, but that is a very strong Russian unit. Cuirassiers are dead. Not Cuirassiers, Hussars. Opolchenia over here struggling. It's going to come down to this left. There are still a lot of Spanish units, and they are still losing that forest though. Chris seriously moving his men up now. Even more men coming up. It all depends on how many men the Russians have, and it looks like they've gone for a charge on the Opolchenia with the Cuirassier. Light infantry versus the battalion mass square, probably not the best idea. Oh, Tom, beautiful. Oh my god! The Russians have used their guard as a charge. That is a very expensive unit. And it's also the only thing holding the morale over here other than their own heavy cav. That unit is going to die. It looks like Tom is going to happily trade that. A charge coming from the Semenoff's guard to another battalion mass. Guard dying, actively being hacked away by the Cuirassier. This is a big brawl on the right side. We've got some Cuirassier in the middle of their line. And the guard's dead. The guard is dead. Down to 100 men. Hopefully they shatter. Hopefully they shatter for the French side, I should say. Looks like he charged on the Opolchenia by the Americans. And it works. They've broken them there. This line engagement still going. Chris is running out of manpower over here. He has fallen back his left now. It's all going to come down to what they can do on this right side now. And it looks like Tom is certainly doing well. He's got his carabiners here. Looks like the Russian player has got a very weak Cuirassier unit that is hacking away at the square. A great charge into the Semenoff's guard. Don't tell me that it... Oh my. Very well played from Tom. Very well played from Tom. And a massive misplay from Dondu here. Letting both of his guards fight heavy cap. Although it looks like the heavy cap is...
One of our
breaking
units
down.
has used all its ammunition,
With
sir.
that volley they have, but that is a heavy loss. They've already lost one elite unit over here. They're losing their cavalry actively. Another guard unit. Down to 1 man. Attack on the hill hasn't worked yet. Tom has got reserves though. Still a major gunfight over here. Both sides really giving it to each other. Although it's really coming down to who's in the forest and who's not, and it looks like the Americans are not in the forest. Although, despite that, they are still very much standing and giving it back. These allied foot, despite getting shot, haven't really taken much. Although Chris has finally swapped a canister, and he's now hammering these guys with canister. Falling his left back. Demi Brigades waiting for a good moment to strike. Heavy cap has come back for Tom.
Our men are running, sir.
This is a heavy, heavy loss for the Russians over here, as their right flank is now open. Tom is using his demi brigades. He is finally doing a big assault with his main infantry force. Spanish over here breaking a little bit. He's got some Sankula over here on the left as well to help him. Looks like Chris is still keeping his reserves here, whittling these men down. This flank is very weak. This flank is very, very weak. Depending on whether or not they have more men behind, which I'm not sure they do. They've mainly got Opolchenia, and they've got some very hammered, weak infantry and grenadiers to hold it. They've already lost one of their elite men over here. Tom just has the numbers. Speaking of numbers, his 300-man demi brigades are now marching up. They can likely tank any of this canister, although, saying that, looks like the Russians do still have some reserves up here. Spanish, looks like they've made a hole in their line to be able to fire some canister through. Yep. Although their men are suffering because of it. Chris still just holding this forest line. Wonder when he's going to use these nerves. Spanish, not giving up. Very much just pressing into him. And it looks like Chris is using this time to march up into the center. Very interesting. He's marching into the center at the same time Tom is marching up. A double assault up there. That square finally breaking. General staying over here. We've got some light cav here. Cuirassier heavily weakened. Carabiners with more men. It comes down to a cavalry engagement between them. Looks like it's going to be a victory from the French. We've got a 6-man horse artillery firing canister. Firing canister. Hitting these men. Not doing a lot of damage. But once these men push up, this is Tom's main strength. He's got a lot of men. Great artillery shots hitting these musketeers. Both cannons now firing like that. Looks like maybe a grenadier charge on these regulars. Will they get point blank volley? I hope they do. Come on. Let's see a point blank volley. It's their only chance. Nope, they're not gonna fire. For some reason. Oh! Oh my god! Although it looks like they didn't need to. Because he... That cannon shot absolutely hammering the grenadier unit. Could actually be the decider on who wins this melee. Both grenadiers coming in. Actually, sorry, grenadier and musketeer. Chris moving some more men up.
Our men are running, sir.
Tom rushing his men. Going back is right though. Probably could move them further forwards. More canister coming in. Grenadiers, weakened, but surviving. More men coming in from Chris. He has got the reserves. More canister firing down into his Chev men. Not great for Chris, although he has put some more reserves in over here. Spanish really marching up on him. Chris is ready for these guys to come around. Some dragoons flanking around the Spanish. Looks like they've limbered up this artillery to move it. A big push here from Tom. We'll see how useful it is. They're still very much firing canister. Speaking of that, let's see. Not really killing many. Come on, Tom. Charge him. Please. Fire to something. There we go. Oh. Not really killing many, actually. He really should just be charging now. Oh, getting canisters. This is very rough. Musketeers here. Getting hacked away at. Firing, firing, firing. Come on, Demi Brigade.
Our men
They're very expensive. Firing. Trying to hit these guys. Grenadiers holding them. Tom needs to get his general up. Actually, this is general. Back here. Needs to get his general up there. Great artillery shots right now, carving through some Demi Brigade break. Press is moving some regulars up. Sadly, some Sankular shooting in the back. Did you have cavalry behind them? Over here. This is by no means over. Great shot there from the artillery. Another good shot, just barely missing. Opolchenya nearly breaking. This is where he should be charging. Oh, some canister in there. Grenadier charge over here. Solid
Our men
charge.
are running, sir.
Sankulad, not Sankulad. Demi Brigade breaking. This is really not going well for the French. Ooh, very nearly great artillery shot. More canister coming from these guys. Good artillery shot here. Followed by a second. This is risky. Personally, if I were Tom, I would have already went for a charge. He's breaking now. That was his strongest force, the Demi Brigades, and they really did not do anything. Chris bringing his cavalry over though. For them to win, It's going to come down to whether or not the Spanish break, I think. Either that or if Tom... Oh, he does break it. Opolchenia there. Russian musketeer charge into Sankula. Getting shot in the back. Against Chev Sankula. Let's see. Looks like they're breaking. Guard Chasseurs coming over, giving some morale. What an absolute slog. We're gonna need something drastic here for the Kings of Pegau. These Grenadiers taking some damage. Rough. Moscow Dragoons over here. Grenadier charge. Looks like a Consular Guard Grenadier is going to go for some Opolchenia over here. We've got some men over here that could probably be used. Canister still just waving through. How are the Spanish looking? Spanish are looking... They're looking alright. Canister. More canister. He's hitting the Grenadiers with canister. Guard Chasseurs is getting in melee. They are Chasseurs. Really shouldn't win that. Grenadier charge on the Sankala breaks them immediately without even touching them. It's very interesting. Both sides are pretty weak, although the Russians definitely do have an advantage over here. Press charging light dragoons into some Grenadiers, but it doesn't work. Buying time for his regulars to get there, though. Oh, what are the Guard doing? Don't get in the gunfight.
Our men are running, sir.
If I was Cress, I'd be using this cavalry to just hit the artillery, but they do have stakes in front of me, I just remembered, yeah. Tom, for the love of God, charge! For the love of God, charge! Please. Oh, he's just getting charged down here. Does he have the numbers? I don't know. He does have a small corps over here. He has two Sankala back here. Obviously, he's got the 18-pounders back here protecting him. The square holding off the Musketeer Battalion. Grenadiers are weakened. Bagration just standing there. Ah, it'd be great if the Grenadier card just charged or something. They're such a strong Grenadier unit. It's a shame to see them not fighting. The artillery really hammering this position. If they could just get rid of these cannons, they'd be in such a strong position, but they can. Musketeers going up against the square here. The square's holding. Artillery getting worryingly close to the general there. Oh, Opolchenia getting torn in half. Dare I say that this right side might be semi-open. Okay, Demi Brigade breaks there. That's unfortunate. Tom kind of just reforming his army. Honestly, attacking here, I don't know. I don't know. Oh no! He hits his Consular Guard, who were mid-charge. He needs that Consular Guard to stay alive. Okay, looks like another assault attempt on this right side. Carabiners breaking. Assuming they went up against some cavalry over here. Opolchenia finally reached by the Guard Grenadiers, however their artillery is still very much pouring into their own men. Yeah, Tom's noticed that the Musketeers are the real threat here. Yeah, he's falling back from this right. He knows that he's not winning that. Gunfight still happening over here. The Spanish still standing. We've got Fusilier over here just matching off against the Dragoons, keeping them still, keeping them in place. Canister just still getting fired away. Cavalry charge, please. Oh, will Tom notice it? Tom doesn't notice it. Musketeers getting hit. Consular Guards hopefully not breaking. Musketeers break. Now he just needs that Opolchenya to break. And he might just have caught a hole in the middle. He might have just caught a hole in the middle of the Russians. We'll have to see. He needs to move these guys. Get them over there. Yeah, he's advancing his men now over there. Okay. Interesting. Russians have got their 6-pounder up here. Press some decent men here. I'm not too sure what this move is. I think he's just trying to get some point-blank shots in the Grenadiers here. Tom using his Sankula to help out press on the left. I'm surprised that the Spanish still have got men left to continue fighting this, because they have taken some serious casualties. Units are coming back here. This is the weakest point in the entire enemy line, right here in this little gully. If he can just get his men, shove them down there, he'll be good. Okay, the Dragoons taking the 8-pounder. Taking canister from the other though. Being caught by the Sankula. Those Dragoons are dead. Press, ignoring the stakes, is going to go for a charge. And it might just work. It might just work. It's going to be sore though. He gets the artillery. He's got it. Can he get that second gun as well?
Our men are running, sir.
He can, but he breaks one. And there is no hole in the stakes. Put his men through. Okay, that has made this side far, far, far easier to take now that there's one less gun. Battling guards going up against the 4th Warriors. Still got a cannon here. Still firing canister as we say it. Oh, they're to left, still not firing. Winning the gunfight here. Looks like a charge from the Russians over here. Followed by a countercharge by some US regulars. What's the morale looking like? What's the morale looking like? Green versus red. Ooh. Red. Wow. Okay, he's got his general up. He might just be able to punch through here. This unit's on red as well. A fantastic charge so far from Chris. He's got his reserves up. He's got his general up. Some men running where? Over here. Okay, he can kind of ignore that because they just need to hold this house. A great charge. He's pushing some cavalry through as well. See if he can get that 6-pounder. This is a make or break here. Tom pushing up men. He is outnumbered. He needs to move these men in. And these men. In fact, they might just completely ignore this. They might just try and hold this house. Push these men up here. What a break up here. Massive break of the Russians. Looks like he's got a militia unit going in for a charge against these guys. Catching them. Killing the artillery. He has made a great hole in the middle. It's just up to whether or not they can capitalize on it. Spanish on the left taking some serious casualties now. Okay, the militia have taken care of that artillery. Hopefully it doesn't come back for the
Our men are
Americans.
running, sir.
Looks like he is moving a unit into those Grenadiers. They are very tired, so it's likely not going to go in the way of the Americans. We never know with morale. Yep, there we go. Yeah, they're getting slaughtered. It's a tired unit going against a Grenadier. There we go. Okay, Tom finally realizing what he has to do is now putting his entire remaining reserves up this center. Although they are separated. Chris just needs to hold over here. If he can hold this one point, and he can hold whatever this point was. Actually, no. Well, they're kind of fighting for this one right now, and it looks like, if anyone, the Americans are the ones holding it. So if they're able to just take that, move these guys back, and hold, depending on the timer, of course, which we don't know yet, he has got a chance to win this. There are still some decent men over here that can hold on. Chris, getting into the house. The house is held. The Spanish are really giving it to them. Some light dragoons going round. Looks like it's going round the Grenadiers here. If those Grenadiers try and get in a gunfight with those buck and ballers, it is not going to go too well for them. Oof, they're taking volleys from both sides. Looks like they're just turning to
Our
try
men
and catch
are
those
running,
dragoons,
sir.
which they get. Tom does have some dragoons behind them though. Those guys dying. Possibly Cuirassier charge into the regulars here. That's Chris sees it. Lovely. Charge into the Opolchenia. Yes, Tom, this is what I've been talking about the whole game. Get that charge in. Very nice. They're still holding over here. Another gun on one cannon. They are holding. They are holding. Cuirassier dying. Artillery is just going to swing around like that. And they are still holding. Tom bringing his reserves over. And he's punched a hole in. He's managed to kill the gun. Although he is now actively losing this house, he needs to get his men over there, which he is trying to do. He has got a cannon which he can get back. Some more Sankula here. If he's able to just break the Russians here, which he is, he can swing down their flank. All just depends on whether or not Chris here can hold. All he needs to do is hold. They've punched straight through the middle of their line. This is going really well. This was the move. This right here was the move I said they needed to do. They needed something big. They needed to punch through, and they have done it. A fantastic combined arms assault from Tom and Chris. Really, really, really well played. And now they just need to hold this house over here. We've got Sankula getting attacked by some Jaegers and getting torn apart by some of these guys, but it looks like he has, for the most part, held them off. Looks like a Musketeer charge and Jaeger charge on a Sankula. Getting fired at by these guys. He's got some Consular Guard Grenadiers here as well. He's got these guys in the house, holding it. Sankula, you can say what you want, but for a militia unit, they've done damn well this game. And it looks like the right side is over. I'm saying it now. I think the right side is over because they have not only held this side, but they are now fully moving around them onto the high ground that the Russians were holding for so long. If the Opolchenia try and get in this house, they will lose. They're not better than Sankula. Fantastic move again by these guys. They're holding the house, but they're getting laid into by some of these Spanish.
Our men are running,
Not a lot of
sir.
Spanish though. Right side is a big win. I don't know, again, I don't know the timer, but depending on the timer, it might even lead to them pushing all the way around to this house back here, or Tom able to throw some reserves over this way, but this right side is 100% over. It looks like the Russians are very much dead. Chris, who's been fighting these Spanish for the entirety of the battle now, still holding on. Very impressive from Chris. He's done a fantastic job. Pushing some light cav in. Potentially going for Joaquin. If he gets that Spanish general, it's game over. Although it's already pretty much game over from this fantastic move from Tom. Holding on to the house. I think he's actually left the house because it's so far damaged. He's right there. He's right there, Chris. Wow. I was not expecting it to go like this. I thought that the Russians would have far more men, but it looks like the biggest manpower was in fact the Spanish. They brought far more men. But as the battle is standing right now, it's looking like a Imperial victory because they hold this house now. They hold this house, this one, and this one. While some people might say that this house is contested because there are some troops here, I would tell you that you're wrong because, I mean, look at this. They've got artillery here, they've got some infantry here. Infantry actually going in the house, they are pretty weak.
We have taken a building, sir.
Cavalry behind them, and also this right flank is over. Saying that though, There is still a pretty hefty core of light infantry here. But they've pushed the Spanish back. They just need to hold this left side, or even better, break it. Is this gun fixed yet? Nope. It is not fixed yet. It's still just standing there. Which is a shame, because canister right now would be very helpful. Chris still got his native warriors back here. They'll be very useful later on if there's a charge. They have completely punched through the enemy though. This right side is a mess. These musketeers breaking. There really isn't much left on this Russian side. Cavalry's still here. He can just go for the general, but I think he's unsure whether or not to go for it. Wonder when he'll figure out his artillery is broken. He needs to click behind them. Yeah, he needs to click behind them like that, otherwise the artillery won't fire. Still got his gun here, which will get some beautiful enfilade down this flank. Look at that. Some great enfilade. Actually, they are a little bit behind a hill. Sankala pressing up a little bit. Cavalry finally able to get round them. Pushing up this side, Musketeers dead here. Sankala finally able to just march straight up this way. And they've completely encircled these Russian forces over here. Artillery firing back at this one. This unit looking like it's ready to break. Does only have 80 men. Fair play to these Americans. They have been fighting tooth and nail for so long. Crest moving up his natives potentially. Native charge here, moving his line up here. He's got a decent defense with these Sankula. Pulled these guys back so they're not in a gunfight anymore. Bringing his general round to keep the morale up. Very nice. He has still got these light cavalry. General's right there. If you're able to get the general, you might be able to get the artillery. Tom is just hounding these guys, shoving them into the back of the map. Cavalry all the way back here as well, probably able to move around. Russians potentially trying to make it round this side like that, but I doubt they'll be able to link up with these guys. And if the Russians do that, it's game over. I think it's basically over. Crush still with some of his buckenballers here. Looks like it's down to the Spanish to hold the entire battle for them, and it isn't going too well for them. They have to be in the credit of the Spanish player here. He has done a very, very, very solid job of attacking Chris. I wasn't expecting the numbers he had, the pure manpower wall. Chris is going for a charge. He's got his general here now. This could be the moment for Chris, because these guys here are very strong. Tom with the dragoons behind them as well. Beautiful, moving them round. They're doing it combined. Melee charge, natives, general, dragoons behind. Oh, beautiful. Very nicely done. But will Chris notice the fact his 6-pounders are getting charged by Fusiliers? Probably not. But it doesn't matter anymore, because what they're doing right now worked perfectly, and they're cutting a hole in the middle of the Spanish line. What we're seeing right now is a hole in the Spanish line, and that hole is trapped outside of the forest, so they're going to lose the gunfight over there. Spanish advanced into these men who are also in a forest. Did the artillery break? Oh, the artillery broke. Yeah, they were getting
Our men are running,
guys.
sir.
There's nothing they could do about it. One of his units breaking. I think that was the artillery. A beautiful charge, and the Spanish didn't notice the dragoons that are standing in the middle of them. Chris following them with militia. Natives still here. These men are in low morale, but they'll probably stay. These guys broken. There is a hole in the line. He's got the Lennox right in the middle of them. The coalition are going for a wave charge onto these Imperial soldiers. The Americans, they're holding on, but for how long? These are some fresh units. These guys dead. He's going to use these guys to reinforce them. Tom sending his entire force now. These guys are breaking, but they don't have the house yet. The Spanish have been shrugged off beautifully by the Americans. Again, this is down to LOC. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the... Hang on, yes. 1, 2... I swear there was an LOC back here. Anyway, the Imperials over here winning. Yes, there was an LOC here, but it got blown up. Chris, his leathernecks, his elites are still behind the enemy, still killing a Spanish Fusilier. That is a waste of a unit. But they have fully shoved the Spanish army to the west. Wow. Melee charge still going over here. Looks like Chris has been able to form a square. He is against some Grenadiers though. The Spanish Fusiliers fighting him have just broken. Well, these Grenadiers break? No, they break the Irregulars. Chris countercharges these Spanish Fusiliers. Still holding the point. Bringing more men up. Tom walling out of the forest. Be careful of your general, Tom! Oh my god. No, I don't think he dies to those stakes. Yeah, he doesn't. Oh my god. Jesus, that was terrifying. Spanish general! The Spanish general's charging a square! It's over. If the Spanish general here runs, he routs. Spanish general routs. He's gone. He's shattered. The Spanish morale is going to go horribly down. House getting hit with artillery, but it doesn't matter if the house blows up, because if the house blows up, yeah, they lose the unit in it.
We have killed
But they've still taken the LOCs. The generals
died.
died. Was that the Russian general? Someone's general. Everything over here breaking. There's a Spanish contingent desperately moving to cling onto this side, holding onto this point in the middle because they're losing an LOC. And that's game. Wow, that was very well played. That was very well played. 9,000 men, very large battle. Well, that went interestingly. Very good battle. Very good battle. Let me just move myself to the VC. Wow, congratulations.
We did it!
Congratulations, guys. That was a very good battle.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh! Thanks.
Ah,
Wow.
Uphill attack against a superior armed foe. I'll take it.
For a show match, that was a very, very, very enjoyable battle to record. Well done, guys. All of you played really well. That was a,
Good job,
great battle.
everybody.
Although
The Russians.
I will,
Oh, you guys were so annoying to fight.
I will say, you guys probably realized it, but yes, Tom and Middle Guard did win the battle by LOC. And also,
I realized that I was charging everything I got left to take that building back.
yeah.
I saw that. We panicked at the last minute, like, oh no, they're gonna do it.
There was a moment where I was very confused because I was counting the LOCs, being like Tommy and Chris holding the LOCs, and then I was like, hang on, did they have the LOCs? And then I was like, one of them's disappeared, and I looked at the back of the map, and one of their LOCs had been blown up. But it does still count as an LOC. It's just a good thing I remembered it was there. But yes, Metalguard Tom, congratulations, you won the first battle. But that was very well played. Congratulations.
Good job, gentlemen.
Very solid battle. There was a couple of moments.
Jaegers couldn't push those Russian
There were some
Jaegers.
moments.
There were some moments in that battle where I really wasn't
I was
sure.
not paying attention to my general. That's unfortunate.
Where was your
It
general?
was lucky. It was just lucky. I ran into him with my light cav at the back.
Ah, right.
It's just luck.
Wow.
I was trying to be sneaky with my guerrillas, still getting the bag and hit the arterial general, but the
Yeah, we were
French.
watching that. We have too much experience from Dan doing it to us.
Yeah, I could see the whole time you had men just like facing backwards and everything. You were ready for those guys, but oh wow, that was very close. Genuinely, from the start to the end of the battle, that Spanish line was fighting the American line. For ages.
Yeah.
Also, I was really not expecting the Spanish push just because you guys were already winning by LOC at that point. And so it was just like, you were just walling against them for a while.